ESPN can endure this, then they should give guys like Paul Pierce his job back. They should give Matt Barnes his job back.
Yep.
And even Michael Irvin, our own Michael Irvin, should get his job back.
Yeah.
If people are not just gonna, honor what they supposed to honor, to me,
What's going on YouTube? It's your boy Shalor back again with another video. Hope y'all having a good week. It's almost over. It's almost Friday. But let's go on and get into it with your boy StephenASmith, Shannon Sharpe. Shannon Sharpe's been in the news with the nastiest little scandal that he's got going on. His sex life is constantly in the news lately. But StephenASmith went on his podcast to speak about the situation, but he did not seem like he was in favor of Shannon's innocence. He didn't defend him. And if you know StephenASmith, he defended Jay-Z against the allegations when Tony Busby, the lawyer that's going after Shannon now, went after Jay-Z. He went on and said, that's not the man that I know, and, basically was siding with him. But in this instance, he is not doing the same for Shannon. Now, I find that rather interesting. Shannon is the big draw, that was brought to ESPN by StephenASmith, and he seems like he's well on his way to being the biggest star in media right now. And he's about to sign the $100 million deal with his podcast, but that might be on the slow works now because of this scandal. And potentially what I'm thinking is StephenASmith might be a little happy because Stephen A is not the biggest fish at ESPN anymore. He's sharing that spotlight with Shannon Sharpe. And, Shannon Sharpe and him have had riffs here and there on live TV while debating. So, if you know StephenASmith, he'll get you up out of there. He got, who was that, Max Kellerman out of there. It's been rumored he got other people, off the show. I think Monica McNutt, when she went after him on live TV, about the whole women in the women, the women's WNBA or whatnot. So I'm gonna let this clip play, and we'll come back and talk about it.
I know, and I can tell you all that I spoke to Shannon, not in details, but I spoke to him, and he emphatically proclaims his innocence. According to Mr. Busby, his client emphatically proclaims his guilt. So where does that leave us? I'd love to tell you that I know the answer to that question, but I don't. I am the executive producer of First Take on ESPN. I recruited Shannon. I went and got him and brought him to ESPN. But I'm not the boss. Those are other folks. There are layers to this, and there are certain layers even I am not on. I can tell you, I also spoke to co-chairman of Disney, the boss, Jimmy Pitaro, who made it very, very clear we are taking this matter very seriously. And we are looking into this very, very closely. And once we gather as many facts as we possibly can, we will go from there. And that is all he said. And I can mention his name because I received his permission to say that. I don't know what that means. In my perfect world, this equates to Jay-Z, where the case ultimately dropped. And Shannon is allowed to continue on First Take and continue to thrive and shine. And not just that, and have an illustrious career in the podcast stratosphere, doing Nightcap with Chad Ochocinco, doing Club Shay Shay, and ultimately gets this $100 million deal that he was all over the news about to sign just a couple of days before this report came out. In my perfect world, he moves on. And somehow, some way, we find this all to be false. But it doesn't seem like that's the way things are about to go down, considering who Mr. Busby is and how emphatic his client is proclaiming that she is right and she's telling.
Okay, so you've seen it. So Stephen A. Smith knows what's up. He's talking to the bosses. Was it Jimmy Pitaro, I think is what he said, the head bosses. He knows this is it for Shannon. And he's acting as if he doesn't know. But, you know, you're sticking your head in there and you're talking to them and seeing what they want to do. And you're trying to come out here and speak very humbly. And you're speaking to Tony Busby's victim, or, you know, the person who's accusing Shannon, you know, saying that they proclaim they're a victim and Shannon proclaims his innocence. It's just a little weird to me on how he's saying it. You know, he's not totally backing, like, the man I know in Shannon Sharpe is not, you know, this type of man. I do not believe him to be such a thing. Like, you're supposed to run good PR at this time, which makes me think that since you're not doing that, that maybe there's something wrong. Maybe you don't like the direction that Shannon Sharpe could be going in as far as the TV show on ESPN with you. There's something there, you know, because there's an older clip when last year when Shannon Sharpe had the whole sex live video, you know, on Instagram. Look at Stephen A. Smith's tone then when he was speaking on if Shannon Sharpe was going to keep his job.
But I can assure you, I've never seen any evidence of that. Anytime over the years I've seen Shannon Sharpe, he's been with a dime piece. That means somebody that looks very, very good. Okay, a female that looks very, very good. That's what I'm accustomed to seeing him around. That's what I'm accustomed to seeing that brother around. So I never bought into those rumors. Not that I care, because I'm liberal on the social side. I'm fiscally conservative. But when it comes to your private life and how you live your life, that's your business. Gay, trans, bi, you know, heterosexual, homosexual, is none of my damn business. Okay? I got the kind of life I like to lead, which is that of a heterosexual. Anybody that wants to live differently, that's your business. I could care less. But if you a man who is a proud heterosexual, you don't enjoy people saying that you're gay, which is what they were saying about Shannon Sharpe, which Shannon Sharpe has openly admitted he found offensive. So all of those rumors, we hope, will be put to bed and everybody move on with their damn life. But in the end, I just thought it was important to point this out. So long as it was an accident, the man did absolutely nothing wrong. So people blowing up my phone, asking me, is he gonna get fired and all of this other stuff. No, I spoke to the honchos. He ain't getting fired. It ain't going down like that. That's not gonna happen. He's gonna be here. He's gonna be right on First Take Monday and Tuesday. He's gonna be right with me next Friday in Washington, D.C. when First Take rolls up on Howard University. He's gonna be right there next month when we go to Tennessee State. He's gonna be right there after that when we go down to Atlanta Clark University in Morehouse and all of that. Yeah, he gonna be there too. Okay? Because He didn't do anything wrong. Mistakes happen. Accidents happen. It's just that simple. Let it go. Let it be. Anybody who living, I understand living on it in the moment when the damn thing is trolling on IG Live. I get that part. But now that it's beyond us, anybody focusing on that, making me wonder about what kind of life you got. He's 56 years old. As he said on his podcast, 56 and still healthy enough to get it in. I appreciate that. He ain't the only 56-year-old that know how to get it in. They got the energy and the stamina and the physical wherewithal to get it in. There's a few folks out there that can do that too. But leave that man alone.
Okay, you see the tone difference in StephenASmith last year when that sex live came out, and how much StephenASmith defended him. Look at his tone. Look how strong he is. You know, he even went as far as to say, you know, because people were calling Shannon Sharpe gay last year, and he went to bat for him in this video, saying, I know the brother not gay, basically. You know, I've always seen a dime piece on his arm. So you go that strong to say you know he's not gay and all this other stuff, and which I don't believe that to be true, but you went that far then, and then you even also said that he's definitely not getting fired. You know, he doesn't have anything to worry about. You see how strong he was last year? It's just weird to me now. And maybe, you know, Stephen A is distancing himself from Shannon Sharpe because, you know, the bosses are telling him, hey, he's up out of here. This is one too many scandals. And Shannon Sharpe is like, well, you know, let me just go ahead and back away and, you know, kind of straddle the defense, you know, with the accuser, and try not to put himself in too much hot water because he knows Shannon is up out of there. And maybe he also, you know, he wants him to be gone. You know, I kind of think it's a little bit of both, you know. But that's just my thoughts on StephenASmith. But let's take a look at Cameron and Mace on It Is What It Is podcast. I think they got the best breakdown of StephenASmith and how he's handling the situation. Here it is.
With Stephen A when he was speaking of it, and I was watching it very carefully, Killer.
Stephen A said something about this already?
Yeah, because Stephen A, he didn't stand with Shannon Sharpe like he stood with Jay-Z. When he heard about Jay-Z, he said, the guy I know, this is not true. When it came to Shannon, he was like, I wasn't there.
Yo,
in a nutshell, yeah.
I gotta keep it static, you know what I'm saying? Because he wasn't there for Jay-Z neither. You wasn't there for Jay-Z. You were not there for Jay-Z, but you went out on a limb because of the character of guy you know. So I'm not saying that you're wrong for that. I'm saying I would have thought that the same standard would be there, right? If for a guy you work with every day. Well, not every day, but, you know.
Damn near.
And I'm not taking a shot at Stephen A. It's just an observation.
It does sound like you was taking shots at Stephen A. From what you saying, I didn't see Stephen A shit, but what I'm gathering, what you said from Stephen A said, he basically said, I don't know the nigga like that.
Well, I ain't putting my hundreds of millions on the line for him.
All right, guys, so you've seen it. Basically saying what I'm saying, Stephen A is not going to stick his neck out for him this time because he know which way the wind is blowing, and it's looking like it's blowing Shannon Sharpe up out of there. And he's going to side with ESPN on this one and make sure he's in the good graces to keep the bag coming in. But y'all let me know in the comment section below. Y'all like, comment, share, and subscribe. And I'll get back at y'all on another one. Peace.